About a week after my sister Emily died in an accident, her daughter Lily was staying with us. Fortunately or unfortunately, Emily often brought Lily over to visit, so the environment wasn't unfamiliar to her. On top of that, she was very attached to us. But we knew this situation couldn't continue indefinitely. So I decided to contact Emily's husband, David, again. The matter was mainly about Lily. "Hello, David. Is this a good time? I need to talk to you."
What is it? We're strangers now, aren't we?
Even with Lily in the picture, how can he act like this? "Well, what do you plan to do about Lily?" Frustrated with trying to choose my words carefully, I asked him directly, and his response shocked me.
Oh, Lily, you can have her. You wanted a kid, didn't you?
What? The word slipped out before I could stop myself. What is he talking about? It took me a long moment to process what he'd said.
I never wanted a kid. They're loud, and I hate that. This is a perfect chance to get rid of her, isn't it?
At that moment, everything in me rejected David as a person. These were words no human, let alone a parent, should ever say, and I felt like I was choking. But I couldn't back down. From that point on, I vowed to protect Lily, no matter what. "Fine, we'll take custody of Lily since I can't trust someone like you to care for her. But in return, don't ever contact us again."
Wait a minute.
Just as I was about to hang up, I heard David's voice on the other end.
In that case, give me the money you saved for fertility treatments.
My name is Ashley. On a rare day off for just the two of us, my husband, Brian, and I, both busy with work, cherished this chance to relax at home in the middle of the day. It wasn't often that we got to enjoy this kind of peaceful moment. However, that peace didn't last long. My smartphone, sitting a short distance away, rang with an incoming call.
It's ringing.
Yeah, who could it be at this hour? I hope it's not work. I didn't want anything to ruin our precious day off, but I couldn't just ignore it. I reluctantly got up and picked up the phone, which was ringing on the dining table. Surprisingly, the call was from my mom. We weren't on bad terms or anything, but we didn't talk all that often, so I couldn't imagine why she'd be calling. Maybe that's why I felt a sudden wave of unease. "Hello?"
"Ashley, it's bad. Emily's been in an accident."
By the time we arrived at the hospital, my sister Emily was already gone. According to the doctor, she died from a traumatic brain injury caused by a car accident. Emily left behind her husband and her 5-year-old daughter. Confronted with this sudden reality, I couldn't begin to accept it. Why did this happen to Emily? Brian held me tightly as I wept in grief. All I could do was stand before Emily's lifeless body and let my tears fall. I don't know how long it took, but eventually I managed to calm down enough to step out of the room with Brian and talk for a bit. "By the way, where's David?"
She hasn't arrived yet. I wonder what's going on.
My mom had already explained how they had contacted me. Apparently, the hospital first tried to reach Emily's husband, David, but when they couldn't get through, they had no choice but to call my mom. Since Emily and I both moved to New York after getting married, my parents couldn't get here right away, so the call came to me. Of course, we had also tried calling and messaging David, but he hadn't responded to anything. While part of me wondered what he could possibly be doing at a time like this, another part worried about him even more because of the situation, and our emotions were tangled up like a ball of yarn. It was now almost 4 in the afternoon. Emily's daughter, our niece, Lily, was still at preschool, and someone needed to pick her up. Brian offered to go.
I'll get her. Stay here with Emily.
He must have been hurting too. But even in this situation, Brian stayed strong and considerate, quietly supporting me. When Brian returned, he brought Lily with him as promised. Lily looked confused, not quite understanding what was happening. She was only 5 years old, too young to face this harsh reality, yet unable to sense the gravity of the situation. For now, we'd have to protect her with a gentle lie, no matter how hard that felt. Even if it was a lie meant to shield her. A sharp pain squeezed my chest again. We finally got in touch with David late the next morning. "Hello, David. Where are you right now?" Lily had stayed with us overnight, but we hadn't heard a word from him. I could understand his grief over losing his wife, but leaving his daughter, Lily, behind like this didn't sit well with me.
Oh, well, I'm at home.
I immediately realized he sounded like he had just woken up. Or maybe he was slurring, as if he'd been drinking. Considering everything, it wasn't entirely unexpected. But for now, I pushed that aside and focused on his well-being. Lily is with us, so don't worry. Well, about Emily. David was silent for a moment before he spoke in a low voice.
Yeah, I heard. What am I supposed to do now?
He didn't cry or sound frantic. Instead, his voice was strangely calm. I felt something was off, but I figured he was just trying to keep it together, so I didn't mention it. "It's okay. We'll help you." There were so many things to handle, planning her funeral and dealing with paperwork. It seemed too cruel to expect him to handle everything alone in his state of grief. I thought if we shared the responsibilities, it would ease the burden, but David kept avoiding all of it, and in the end, my husband, Brian, my parents, and I took care of everything. During this time, we also looked after Lily. Brian and I had no idea what was going through David's mind. About a week after Emily passed away, Lily was still staying with us. Fortunately or unfortunately, Emily often brought Lily over to our house, so it wasn't an entirely unfamiliar environment for her. She was also very attached to us, which helped. But we knew this situation couldn't go on forever. So I decided to contact David again. This time, it was mainly about Lily. "Hello, David. Is this a good time? I need to talk to you."
What is it? We're strangers now, aren't we?
The moment I heard those words, I felt like I finally understood the truth behind his cold demeanor the day after Emily died. Maybe he doesn't care about the tragedy that happened to Emily. Even if that's not the case, how can he act like this when it comes to Lily? "Well, what do you plan to do about Lily?" Frustrated by trying to choose my words carefully, I asked directly, and his response shocked me.
Oh, Lily, you can have her. You wanted a kid, didn't you?
"What?" The words slipped out before I could stop myself. What is he talking about? It took me a long moment to process what he'd said.
I never wanted a kid. They're loud, and I hate that. This is a perfect chance to get rid of her, isn't it?
Do you even hear what you're saying?
Didn't you hear me? I hate noisy kids. Let's be adults and have a calm conversation.
At that moment, everything in me rejected David as a person. These were words no human, let alone a parent, should ever say, and I felt like I was choking. But I couldn't back down. From that point on, I vowed to protect Lily, no matter what. Fine, we'll take custody of Lily since I can't trust someone like you to care for her. But in return, don't ever contact us again.
Wait a minute.
Just as I was about to hang up, I heard David's voice on the other end. Reluctantly, I pressed the phone back to my ear.
In that case, give me the money you saved for the fertility treatments. Emily was going to the doctor for that, right? You got your kid, so it's only fair.
The fact that he was now asking for money made my skin crawl. This was beyond anything a decent human would do.
That was about $3,000, right? I'll settle for that.
Who does he think he is? My blood was boiling, but I forced myself to think rationally. If I give him the $3,000 now, it might keep him from bothering us in the future. If I pay it out of my own earnings, it won't hurt our finances too much. After a brief silence, I opened my mouth, my words feeling as heavy as lead. I'll pay you the $3,000. Just stay out of our lives forever.
I appreciate your understanding.
He gave me his account details, and I immediately hung up. I couldn't stand to hear his voice for another second. The man disgusted me. That night, I felt a twinge of regret over my decision. Maybe I should have discussed it with Brian. What would Lily think about all this? Doubts kept surfacing one after another.
Are you crying, Ashley?
What? It wasn't until she pointed it out that I realized I was in tears. Hey, Lily, do you want to go back to your dad? There was a brief pause for some reason. That reason became clear with her next words.
No. He's scary.
So what David had said was true. I asked Lily, following my impulse. Would you like to live with us from now on?
Yes.
She didn't smile, but her expression softened just a little as she answered. Time flew by, and over 10 years have passed since Lily came to live with us. She's now a high school student. By this time, Lily seemed to have settled in. She started calling us Mom and Dad. Of course, we told her about her real mom. Even so, she called us that, probably because of her resilient nature. There was one other thing that had changed. About a year ago, Brian was assigned to work overseas, so he's not at home now. Brian cares about us and makes sure to call at least once a week, which reassures me in many ways. Because of that, Lily and I now live modestly and peacefully, just the two of us. One morning, after Lily had already left for school and I was busy with housework, I received a call. When I saw who it was, I couldn't believe it.
Hey, it's been a while.
It was David, Lily's biological father, the man I feared and despised most in this world. 10 years ago, I cut ties with him and told him never to contact us again. Yet here he was, acting completely unbothered. What do you want now?
Well, actually, I was thinking of taking Lily back.
The anger I felt back then flared up again. No, it was more than that. My fury boiled hotter than ever. Do you even hear yourself? There's no way I'd ever allow that.
Yeah, I figured. So, if that's not going to work, just give me money. And keep it quiet, of course.
I was certain now. He never intended to take Lily back. This had been his goal from the start. There was only one thing to do. I hung up without another word. But the phone rang again.
You know what you have to do, right? Otherwise, who knows what I might do.
If this continued, Lily might get hurt. No, she would almost certainly become his target. That was the one thing I absolutely couldn't let happen. To protect Lily at all costs, I couldn't afford to be picky about my options. How much do you want? Once again, I fell into David's trap. I hadn't consulted Brian. More accurately, I couldn't bring myself to because I didn't want to worry him. Threatening calls came every few months. This went on for nearly a year, and Lily was approaching her college entrance. By then, the amount of money demanded had grown to the point where my earnings alone couldn't cover it. I was exhausted, consumed by panic and anger. The total had reached around $30,000.
Ashley, what's going on? Something's not right.
I was reaching my limit. My behavior had started to give me away, even over the phone. I'm sorry. When you come home, there's something I need to talk about.
Okay, but can't we talk about it now?
You're coming home next week, right? Please, let's talk then.
All right, I understand.
Brian didn't press me further. This was too serious to discuss over the phone. The following week, as soon as Brian returned, I told him everything. I told him that David had contacted me again, that he had been extorting money by using Lily, that the amount had spiraled out of control, and that I had kept it from him until now. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. A wave of guilt surged from deep inside me. It spilled out as tears fell down my face.
If that's true, I wish you'd told me from the start. But don't worry. This isn't your fault, Ashley. I'll take care of it. Besides, it's all my fault for introducing you to someone like him.
I had seen many sides of Brian over the years. But at that moment, he was the saddest, the most reliable, the most passionate, and above all, the angriest I had ever seen him. It was Brian who had introduced my late sister, Emily, to David. Brian and David had originally been friends in the same college, and he had introduced Emily to him. After hearing my story, Brian was filled with regret.
I found David's weakness. This is going to be the end of him.
Brian had been visiting their mutual friends, and it seemed he finally uncovered something.
I figured out why David's been extorting money. It's gambling. He's drowning in debt because of it. On top of that, he's been stealing money from his company to cover his losses.
Apparently, David worked for a startup founded by someone from their old friend. The company's finances hadn't been adding up for the past few months. The fact that he was using money extorted with his own daughter as leverage to fund his gambling habit was beyond despicable. I couldn't forgive it. So, what are we going to do now?
I've already taken care of it. Now, we just wait.
Brian had talked to his old classmate who ran the startup, and they had already reported it to the appropriate authorities. At that moment, the doorbell rang.
Hey, get out here. I'm in deep trouble because of you.
Hearing the loud voice from the speaker, Lily peeked out of her room, startled.
I'll handle this. Lily, stay in your room.
It's you, isn't it? Brian. Thanks to you meddling, I'm getting sued by my company. Fix this.
You brought this on yourself. Face the consequences.
You've got to be kidding me. A parent's debt is the kid's responsibility, so she should sell herself if she has to.
You need to stop right now.
Even from the dining room, I could hear David shouting. As I froze, Lily walked past me. Lily, where are you going? Stay in your room. She looked back and gave me a reassuring smile before heading to the front door.
Well, Lily, you've grown.
I'm their daughter now.
We haven't seen each other in 10 years, and that's how you talk to me? But too bad. You're my daughter.
The only one who should feel bad here is you. Once you're 16, you can choose your own parents. I'm 17 now, and I choose who my parents are. I've never thought of you as my father, not even once. If you keep hurting my parents, I'll report you for child neglect.
Lily spoke firmly, without hesitation. Brian and I, who had followed her, were stunned by her words. Without our knowing, Lily had done her research and stood up to David with incredible composure. I could only imagine how scared she must have felt.
Acting all grown up? Fine. I'll leave for now.
His voice seemed to tremble a little. Maybe he hadn't expected to be struck down by someone like Lily. With that, David turned on his heel and walked away.
I'm amazed. I didn't know you'd been studying so much.
I was just as shocked, maybe even shaken to the core. I never imagined that a day would come when Lily, whom I thought I'd been protecting all this time, would end up protecting me. I'm really surprised too. Thank you, Lily. Then Lily smiled, a smile brighter than I'd ever seen, though there was a hint of shyness.
I should be the one thanking you. If things had gone differently when Mom died, I would have ended up with him. Just imagining that life scares me. But you and Dad took me in and raised me. I've always been grateful, and I always will be. So, thank you.
My vision blurred with tears. I couldn't see Lily's face clearly through the distortion. Even so, I hugged her tightly with all my strength.
And, I kind of realized Mom was being threatened by him. I also knew Dad was looking into things. So I thought I had to do something. From now on, I want to be able to protect both of you. That's why I studied so hard. I want to become a lawyer.
Thank you. If that's your dream, we'll support you with everything we have. But remember this. Live your life for yourself, not just for us.
That's right. This isn't anyone's fault. You don't have to carry it all on your shoulders. But like Brian said, we'll always respect your choices.
I'm so glad I got to be your child.
We cried, laughed, and hugged each other tightly, all three of us together. A few more years passed, and Lily graduated from the law department of a university in New York, officially becoming a lawyer in training. Tuition, exam fees, and all the other expenses weren't cheap, but thinking of Lily made none of it a burden. In fact, being able to support her felt like the greatest blessing. Brian felt the same way and worked even harder to provide for us. Since that incident when David confronted us, he seemed to have stopped harassing us. Not a single call came, and we enjoyed truly peaceful days.
There's something I want to talk to you about.
Shortly after Lily started working at a law firm, she asked to sit down with Brian and me. A bit nervous, we took our seats at the dining table.
I'm thinking about pressing charges against him.
By him, she undoubtedly meant David. I couldn't help but wonder if it was even possible to sue after nearly 20 years had passed. Can you really do that? It's been so long.
Yes, I can. And if it works out, we might even get back the money Mom gave him.
I won't pretend I understand all of this. But do whatever you think is best, Lily. David deserves to be sued. We have no objections.
I agree with Brian, but don't worry about the money. Don't push yourself too hard.
Okay.
The trial began, and it was over in no time. Both the civil case for child neglect and the criminal case for blackmailing me ended. Unsurprisingly, in our favor. David was ordered to pay damages. The total amount was around $50,000. It far exceeded the money he had extorted from us. But since David was already drowning in debt, he couldn't possibly pay that amount and was ultimately forced to declare bankruptcy. After all the trials wrapped up smoothly, I saw David for the first time in years. He looked utterly worn out.
Lily.
Don't ever show your face again. Goodbye.
Her cold words cut deep, but he didn't deserve any sympathy. And just like that, a long, drawn-out battle came to an end. According to Brian, who heard through the grapevine, David turned to loan sharks after his bankruptcy and was now living a harsh life. He had been abandoned by his friends and peers, and he was likely struggling to get by. He declared bankruptcy, didn't he? Why would he turn to loan sharks?
Apparently, even after everything that happened, he couldn't stop gambling. He wasn't always like this.
Brian reflected on the past with a sigh. From what we knew of him back then, David had seemed like a bit of a carefree guy, but none of us ever imagined he'd end up like this. It was truly a case of karma. Meanwhile, Lily's career as a young lawyer was off to a promising start, and she seemed incredibly busy every day. She prioritized cases related to child abuse and neglect. It went without saying that her own upbringing influenced her choices. Whenever I saw her tirelessly working, I worried a little, but more than that, seeing her live such a fulfilling life brought a smile to my face. Today was Emily's Memorial Day, and we had decided to visit her grave together as a family. Lily, are you ready? Lily had taken the day off for the occasion and was dressed modestly and respectfully. Not long ago, she was still my little niece, but now she had grown into a remarkable lawyer and a beloved daughter. As I felt the swift passage of time, a mix of happiness, nostalgia, and a tinge of sadness washed over me.
I'm almost done.
Okay, got it. I left Lily's room. As Lily grew older, she began to look more and more like Emily. Perhaps that's where this sense of melancholy came from.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Mom, what's wrong?
Her words jolted me back to reality. I realized I was crying. It felt oddly familiar, like something that had happened a long time ago. That's always how I am. When I'm overwhelmed, tears come before words. Oh, it's nothing, just a yawn. I wondered if Lily saw through my lie, but it didn't matter. All right, let's go. Emily's grave was in our hometown. After about a 2-hour drive with Brian at the wheel, we finally arrived, and it was just as it had always been. Her grave still stood quietly in a peaceful rural mountain setting. It had been years since we last visited, but my parents must have been coming here often. The gravestone and flowers were well cared for.
Hi, Mom. It's been a while.
Lily gently ran her hand over the gravestone. Seeing that, I found myself tearing up again, and I spoke to Emily in my heart. So much has happened, but Lily has grown up to be so incredible. She's a lawyer now, helping so many children. I promise to keep her happy from now on.